Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the Gator EFX hard folding cover on the 2023 Ford Super Duty. The tools I'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket and scissors. Now make sure you're subscribed to our channel to stay up to date with our latest content. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we want to do is install our bulkhead seal. Now before we do that, we want to make sure we have a very clean bulkhead to give a good surface for that adhesive to bond to. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean it off with some isopropyl alcohol. Just regular rubbing alcohol will work. This is 91%, that's what I recommend. But we're just going to wipe off the surface. What that does is that removes any kind of residue, any kind of wax buildup from car wash stuff, anything like that. That gives you just paint to bond to. Next, we're going to find our bulkhead seal in our kit. Now, where we are going to install this bulkhead is all the way to the inside of the bed on top of the bulkhead. So the furthest part away from the cab on top of that bulkhead, we're going to go all the way from one bed cap to the other bed cap right along that line. So I'm going to take our bulkhead seal and I'll peel away a little bit of the protector. And then push it all the way up against the bed cap. And when we get it to the other side, we're just going to cut it in place with some scissors. All right, now we can go ahead and move to our rails. Okay, now we're going to start on the driver's side. This is the driver's side rail. Now, all the way up at the front end, we're going to have a drain cup. It's got a little spout that comes off the end. That is going to hook up to the drain tube, just like so. Once we have that drain tube on there, this rail is going to be attaching to our bed cap. And so this flange right here is actually going to rest on top of the bed cap itself, and then it's going to slide all the way up to the bulkhead. Now I've got a bed rug here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back and make sure that I can go all the way up against the bed cap or the bulkhead with this drain cap. Now on the Ford, we've also got a couple of different places where you can route this. We can actually route this down to a kick out down at the bottom. There is also an area right underneath the stake pocket that's got a little opening here. We can actually cut this in place and route it out here. Or if you got a bed rug, something else you can do is just completely remove that, that drains tube and then just route that, the drain cap down below the bed rug. Bed rug is waterproof, so any kind of runoff water is just going to find the weep holes in the bed of the truck and evacuate that way. So that's going to be the plan that we're going to take on this particular one. Now what I want to do is show you how the clamps attach. So this is the side that you're going to look at, but if I rotate it up, you're going to see we've got an extrusion on the inside. Now let me show you our clamps that we're working with. This is a clamp that's going to come out of your kit. What we're going to do is loosen that up. The side with the bolt head, this is the part of the clamp that's actually going to attach to the rail. So we're just going to turn this sideways. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. What I'm going to do is install it onto the rail first. Now, if you look at that extrusion, this clamp will actually slide into that rail and then clip into place. So once that's clipped into place, you can actually slide that clamp back and forth anywhere along the rail that you want. And then you can take and rotate the rail down onto the bed cap, and once everything is in place where you want it, where it's all the way forward, we can take that clamp, rotate it around. We're going to raise it up Now there are 2 notches in the clamp. We're going to use the top notch that we're going to attach to. And we're just going to go ahead and tighten it down hand tight first. Make sure it's all the way flat against the top of the bed cap, all the way pushed forward. And we're going to go ahead and tighten that down with a 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. All right, now this clamp I've got right in the center. And all we're going to do is bring this to 10 foot-pounds. Do not over tighten this clamp. I've got this one in the center. We're next going to go to the front. Now you can either install all the clamps onto the rail and rotate it down, or you can also install the clamps in place on the rail. So I'm going to slide this up in place and then rotate it in, and now that clamp is square in place on the rail, and I can slide it anywhere along the rail. So what I want to do is make sure this clamp is 6 to 8 inches away from the bulkhead on the front side, and also 6 to 8 inches away from the tailgate or the back of the rail on the back side. So let's go ahead and bring this up as far as we can get it. Again, we're going to use that top notch to attach our clamp. Tighten it hand tight first. Make sure the rail is seated against the bed cap. And then go ahead and snug this one down also just at 10 foot-pounds. Don't go more than 10 foot-pounds because then you will actually throw off the level of the rail. Let's go ahead and install the rear clamp. Rear clamp's going to install the exact same way. Slide it up in there, click it into place. That's how you know that it's installed properly. We're going to slide it back as far as it goes back here. Line up to that top notch. We're going to go hand tight and then to 10 foot-pounds. Now we can go ahead and repeat the same process for the opposite rail, and we can go ahead and grab our cover. This is the way the cover comes out of the box. Now, I've got the bottom side of it showing this edge right here where the rubber is. This is the bulkhead seal. So this cover is going to come up and go up on top of the rails. This side is going to point towards the bulkhead. Right here, we've got some channels that we need to install a retaining clamps into. Now, I've already got 3 of them done. So we got 4 corners here. Those 3 are done. Let me show you the way this goes in. So here is your retaining clamp. You've got a carriage bolt that's on the bottom. That carriage bolt will slide into this track. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to slide that carriage bolt right in. Now, this can go anywhere along that track. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this in with a flat edge and the notch and set that kind of into the track and let it lean. This side right here that's wider is going to go towards the rail. And so all I'm going to do is just kind of snug that for right now because we have to adjust it. I just want it in place so when we put it on top of the rails, it will fit in between the rails. Let's go ahead and set it on top of the rails all the way up against the bulkhead. Make sure this sits on top of the bulkhead. All right, what we're going to do is center it side to side. We'll bring it all the way forward to where the frame of the cover rests up against the bulkhead. And once we have that centered, I'm going to go ahead and go underneath and set the clamps. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, now here are the retaining clamps. What we're going to do is go ahead and loosen them up, and then we can slide them over to the rail. So get it loosened up enough to where it can go underneath the rail. Once it's underneath the rail, I'm going to bring it back up. I'm not going to tighten it down all the way because we still need to be able to go ahead and adjust the cover if it needs to be centered towards the tailgate. But we're going to do all 4 clamps like this. So we're going to slide it over. When we get these retaining clamps in place, make sure that the notch in the clamp is up inside the track and that it also rests inside the groove on the rail. So that once you want to have it just like so, and we're just going to get it just like that. That way we can still adjust the cover before we tighten everything down. We're going to undo the clips that hold it in place. And with each fold, we're going to stop. It's going to automatically latch to the rails. So we're going to check the spacing side to side, make sure if it needs to be adjusted that we can do that. And then fold it back to the tailgate and check the spacing side to side. Going to adjust it just a little bit there. Now that it's adjusted, it's all the way forward. I'm going to go ahead and pull the cable that retracts the latches on both sides. Fold it forward, go ahead and do the next panel. Also retracts the latches the same way. Make sure that as you're folding this forward that you do not adjust the cover side to side because it's already set in place where it needs to be. Now we can lock it in by tightening the clamps. Just going to crawl underneath here, make sure the clamps are still fully engaged into the rail, and then snug them down. You don't need to tighten them down real tight, just nice and snug. As long as the lock washer in there is collapsed, that's all it needs to do. All right, now we can go ahead and close the cover. Well, that concludes the installation. If you found this video helpful, make sure and give us a thumbs up. To know more about the product, check the link in the description below. And as always, if you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online.